Welcome to One Big Boat. We're all in this together. A show focused on people and organizations whose work is making a true difference in people's lives. Today, we welcome aboard Adam Ezra of the Adam Ezra Group.
The tiny star is a big bright sun in the morning when my day's begun.
He also runs a nonprofit called RallySound. He's on board to tell us how he balances making music with his band while making a difference with an army of volunteers. That's next on One Big Boat. We're all in this together.
What is RallySound?
That is a really good question. So I've been playing music for a lot of years, and for a long time in there, we were a bar band. We weren't hired to play concerts. We were hired to keep people drinking the last call, right? And that's where we would play night and day, anywhere that was willing to hire us, and even some places that weren't willing to hire us. But during that time, as people began to find out about our music, people would be doing events that were dedicated to making the world a better place. Charity events, awareness campaigns, and they'd ask me to play, and it always felt special. It always felt more special than a regular show. And at one point, I gathered a bunch of people together, and I said, look, this is going to be a part of my mission as an artist, and I think that we should create a nonprofit organization to kind of facilitate this. And we got together and we started kind of talking about what RallySound would be, how it would be shaped, what it would look like, and what we settled on was an organization that had a mission to empower community through music. And it's been going on for 15 plus years now, and throughout the year we have this network of amazing people at RallySound, and a lot of what we do happens through the Adam Ezra Group tour. We will incorporate elements of activism, but today is a great example. We're here raising money for Camp Arrowhead, which is a camp dedicated to supporting special needs children. And our nonprofit organization helps facilitate that. They work with organizers to help them put events together. The camp has never done a music event before. They called us up, and we had a team that helped them kind of from soup to nuts set up a show, help them learn how to sell tickets or do raffles or find a place to play. And it's been it's just a joyous part of touring for me and my bandies and the community connected with RallySound to be able to support folks that are trying to make the world a better place in one way or another.
And by the way, if you're listening to this, we have our own soundtrack because we're actually,
of course,
right before the show. So there won't be a lot of sound editing, but we're just going to let this run. Okay? This will be fine.
Okay.
So how do you start recruiting? You're like, I want to do this, right? Mm-hmm. How do you start recruiting people?
You know, we've always been this underground grassroots band, and we've always done activism, and so there've always been people that are fans and friends, extended family members of the band, and there have always been people that have been excited to jump on board. And and we kind of have this amazing kind of open door policy. I mean, we like to empower community through music, but part of that mission is this community within RallySound. And people will be fans, they'll come to a show, they'll hear about some of the activism we're doing, and they'll come up and they'll say, I'd like to get involved a little bit more. And we say, okay, we got folks you can talk to about that, right? And our community has grown and grown from there. And it's been a pretty special journey.
How many shows or how many charities do you work with during the year?
You know, that's a really good question. We might do 30 or 40 different charity events throughout the course of the year, but then, right, my band, Adam Ezra Group, will play a lot of shows, right? And oftentimes what's been happening, which is great, is we'll be playing at a theater or music venue, and somebody connected to the community will say, hey, there's a food pantry in this town that, you know, I think we should support. And the RallySound team gets together and we figure out a way to incorporate some kind of awareness campaign or a giving campaign into that show. So, I mean, really, most of our shows these days have some element of activism incorporated into it, and it's pretty cool.
I've told you, you have to me the soul of Harry Chapin, who I'm a huge fan of.
Me too, brother.
Chapin had this thing where sometimes people thought he gave too much of himself and didn't work on his brand. And had he worked on his brand more, he would have been able to command more money per event. Like, how do you balance it, right? How do you balance charity with me, or you know what I mean?
It is such a good question. It's a question, right? Like, you work on a tightrope a little bit, right? Like, at what point, right? How much am I hurting the business of my music? We're still a struggling band, right? Like, we're still an indie band, so we're still throwing punches. We're still not at a place where we're sustainable unless we keep growing.
Yeah, I mean, I think Peter Buck once, or Peter Buck of REM said you were like, we're the tallest midget. Like, you're getting up to, you know, like.
we are continuing, and that part's super exciting, right? But there are questions all the time. Would it be growing faster if I focused a little more traditionally on the climb? Personally, I like to think that one of the things that is special and unique about our band, our music, and the experience of coming to one of our shows is that there is this inspiring community around the music. Our fans are incredible, and when you come to an Adam Ezra Group show, I think that feeling is something that permeates throughout a crowd. First time attendees or people that have been to 150 shows, right? There's a feeling of connectedness, and I have to attribute some of that to the activism that we do. So I don't know, maybe we're walking that tightrope just perfectly.
Well, the community is amazing.
Yeah.
And just so people know, my company has produced the Ramble last year. I've played in your golf tournament, and as we're recording this, tomorrow is the golf tournament. And that golf tournament, you really do get that sense that everybody's in it together. I grew up on Springsteen, I grew up on Dylan, and still one of my favorite lines ever is, I am nothing without everyone, which you wrote.
Yeah. And well, that's how I feel. It's funny that you bring up the golf tournament, because that's an example of, like, right, something that would never, ever have existed if it were just me driving the train, right? I don't play golf. A community member, one of our amazing RallySound team, he said, you know what, I've organized some golf tournaments before, and I think it's a really great way to access these people that not only play golf, but are connected to businesses. And, you know, a lot of businesses, they understand a golf fundraiser. They do those a lot, right? And so and I said, I'm a folk musician, man. I ain't running a fucking golf tournament. And then I thought about it and I said, you know what? Every single person in this community has something to contribute. We really believe that. Everybody has a skill. We have teachers and firefighters and, right, we soup to nuts, lawyers, doctors. Everybody has something that they're good at or something that they're passionate about. Everybody has something that they can contribute to this community. And this guy reached out, he said, I think I can do this, and I think it could be really cool. And I said, all right, let's play golf. And so this is gonna be the third year that we've done the golf tournament, and it's super, it's an awesome day. Like,
it's a great day.
Coming up,
we are a musical mutt.
Adam discusses the positives and negatives of his musical style.
led bands, you've led musicians, so just now you're with volunteers.
Yeah.
And so you're used to herding cats?
Yeah. Well, you know what? I'm a big, I'm a big advocate of passing ownership on. And so when people have ideas, things they want to do, right? My reaction is usually like, how can we get to yes? Sometimes the ideas aren't super well thought out. Sometimes, right? Sometimes somebody's just really passionate about something. They want to make something happen. And sometimes part of that process is, okay, how do we take your awesome idea and your passion, how do we create a feasible plan, and then you are going to be in charge of making that happen, right? And that's magic, right? Like we have this, and whatever that idea is, whatever that person wants to do, we've got the RallySound community that will come in and get their back, and we'll come in and get their back as musicians, and you know, it is very rarely a train wreck.
And even the train wrecks, they're good stories.
The train
wrecks
can be magic.
They can be magic. We learn from our train wreck.
I'll tell you what.
We should have rails.
I say this all the time. You always remember the weddings when it rained.
Oh, absolutely.
You always remember the weddings that
I remember
it rained.
the wedding that all the power went out.
That's it.
It was awesome.
That was awesome, right?
5 years, 10
Nobody
years.
plans a wedding and wants the power to go out, but I'll tell you what, that is an awesome memory.
Although I know a couple weddings where after the thought, I think people were like, had we only had a tornado, had we only had a natural disaster, as opposed to this man-made one that's happening right now. 5, 10 years, where's RallySound? Is the same trajectory as the Adam Ezra Group?
You know, it is such an unwritten story, and it's a story that both our story as an indie band and the story of RallySound as a nonprofit organization, they're both stories I have not seen before. I've not heard those stories before, and so I'm not really sure. I really don't know.
And you've got 3 reasons that it might be complicated.
Yeah.
You're all female.
Yeah.
Your wife and your 2 little girls.
I have 2 little girls now, and that is another tightrope to walk, because man, I love being a daddy, and I love being home with my little girls and my wife, but it's taken me 20 years to get to this place, and it's so exciting the way things are growing these days, and the energy around Adam Ezra Group and the energy around RallySound. So the question is how to find that magical balance, how to walk that tightrope.
It is.
It is a triangle.
And not everybody has it. Not everybody says, okay, I'm going to have a family, I'm going to have a band. And oh, by the way, let me do this nonprofit with a bunch of people that are going to volunteer their time, from lobbyists from New York State to librarians.
Yep. It's true, and it is amazing. And, you know, I don't think when I was a 20-something starting off, deciding to be a musician, I could not have imagined how long and hard a road it would be. And looking back, standing where I am, sitting where we are, I'm so grateful for the ride that we've been on and the ride that we continue to be on.
When you did Fenway Park, some people may have heard you, that might be the first time they ever realized, who is this guy? He looks kind of cool. And they look you up.
Well, for those of you that are watching this podcast, I was not a headliner at Fenway Park.
He wasn't a headliner, but no, you opened the national anthem for a game.
That's it.
And that's called the national anthem. So anyway, but when they look you up, right? They Google you.
Yeah.
You know, what do you want them to find? The Adam Ezra Group, RallySound. What's coming up first in that Google search?
You know, it's a difficult thing. We have the same problem with our musical genre, right? You've been to a bunch of shows. You can't. What would you call?
When I first got on Spotify, the Adam Ezra Radio Group was rock and roll. Now it's Chris Stapleton. You're Zach Ryan.
Those
it's
guys.
skewing
I love
country
those guys.
too.
We are a musical mutt, That's both intentional because variety inspires me as an artist, but it also makes it harder to package neatly.
Yeah.
And the same is certainly true looking at me as an artist, RallySound. It's hard to wrap your brain around until you dive deep, right? And so, you know, when I think about the people at Fenway Park that heard me sing the national anthem, right? Like, man, the hope would be, I think, that they would say, oh, that was okay. Let me check out some music. Oh, this kind of looks interesting. This kind of sounds pretty good. Maybe I'll come out to a show sometime. And if they come out to a show, that's when there's a chance that they'll get it, right? And once you get it, you come back, right? And so it's pretty. That's usually the progression.
Is it as simple as AdamEzra.com to find you?
Simple as that. Simple as that. Or you can look for Adam Ezra Group on Spotify. You can search around for Adam Ezra Group pretty much anywhere on the internet and you'll find us. So
We could talk forever, but the music's getting louder, so they want you on stage at some point. So what did we miss, or what's the last thing you want people to know?
Well, you know, one thing we didn't talk about that we probably should talk about is the Ramble.
Yep.
When we were just starting off RallySound, we decided that we were going to host our own. So most of the events that we play, like this event right here, right? There's an organizer that put the event together, and they want Adam Ezra Group to come and play. They want RallySound to be to support them putting on this event, right? But we decided once a year we were going to put on our own event, and it has turned into a festival dedicated to ending veteran homelessness in the Northeast. This summer is going to be Ramble 15, and it is the most inspiring, amazing day for us every single year. It is like you take all the community from all over the country and the world, all the musicians that we connect with and we love, and everybody comes together on the side of a mountain and we play a festival.
This is the RallySound Super Bowl in some ways.
It's the RallySound Super Bowl, exactly.
Everybody gets together.
That's it.
Last year it was pouring, raining, and somebody said, and our equipment was about to get wet, so we said, we're gonna go get you 24 by 8 pieces of plywood. And it was like Noah's Ark as people walked with it. It was just so impressive.
Pretty cool.
Right. Thank you very much. I appreciate
man. Cheers.
Cheers.
Hey, I want to tell you about this year's Ramble lineup. I am so excited about these artists. Every single artist that is coming down this year is not only super talented and inspiring musically, but they're all wonderful people too. And we are so honored that they want to come and be a part of our festival. We have our friend Steve Hartman coming down from Vermont. Haley Reardon is going to be a new Ramble artist. She's going to blow you all away with her songwriting. Our buddy Kali Loops, who's been to almost as many Rambles as I have at this point, is going to be playing. Our friend Will Evans is coming out. New Ramble artist Josh Joplin is going to be playing. Our buddies in the band Circe are going to blow everybody's minds. And Reed Fole is coming out with his band. After they all finish, Adam Ezra Group is going to take the stage, and we are going to do the thing that we love the most. Not only are we going to get to play music for a ton of amazing people on the side of a mountain, but we are going to be collaborating with all the other Ramble artists that are there throughout our set that night. You should come and hang with us. Saturday, August 24th, the Ramble, dedicated to ending veteran homelessness in the Northeast.
One Big Boat is a production of Last Minute Productions Incorporated. This episode was produced by Jay Dobeck. Ethan Gallo was the sound engineer, Jim Johnston and Scott Wyman provided production support and editing, and Joanne Pallotta was the production coordinator.